New South Wales has introduced another COVID lockdown. This has actually introduced a few more restrictions across other states, but New South Wales being the largest economy in Australia, locking down is major. So what I want to talk to you about is what the effects of COVID 2.0 lockdowns look like for real estate and how you should best prepare. If you're interested, keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi Sharma and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and definitely drop me a thumbs up for the video so we can share these videos out to more people via the YouTube algorithm. Now, if you're interested in cryptocurrency, real estate, and financial freedom, you would love this channel. We have over 100 videos and I keep producing more because why not? No, the real reason I bring out so many videos every single week is because I am so energetic and passionate about the learning space and learning about financial literacy. Now, I get a lot of DMs, a lot of emails from you guys where you guys say,
hey, look, Ravi, thank you so much because I learned this. I paid for X, Y, and Z from someone else and I learned it on your channel for free.
That to me is oxygen. All I ask is for you to share these videos to loved ones so they can keep on top of their financial literacy and know what's actually happening. Now, guys, in this video, very important, we're talking about the COVID lockdown restrictions and how the reintroduction of this, so 2.0 with the Delta variant and whatnot, how that can affect real estate and how we can prepare in 2021. Because if 2020 was anything to go by, well, there's huge opportunity out there. But now that we've realized 12 months of those opportunities and huge amounts of growth, what happens now? If you're investing or you've already bought something and now you're worried, this video might be very beneficial for you. So let's focus on New South Wales. Direct ramifications, obviously, of the lockdown means for 2 weeks, there are no open homes, there's no auctions, none of that. That's just all gonna get pushed further along. Now, the thing is, I don't really think this is gonna be a huge issue because we already have a lack of supply, right? Lack of stock on the market. There's not many properties getting transacted. So it's gonna have more of a positive effect if you're in, already owning property and hoping for properties to go up. Because now what we're gonna see is, yes, we see a bit more supply or constraint up into after the lockdowns, but we've also got a huge amount of buyers that have their pre-approvals ready. They've been sitting there with finance, looking for properties. Now they're getting more frustrated because it might mean an extra 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, depending how long the lockdowns last for. And they're all gonna get more frustrated, which means they get pushed away as well down the track to then wanna go and purchase even more. Now, the way this could play out is numerous ways, right? But I don't think this is a huge effect of lockdowns making prices just capitulate and correct. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think with lockdowns, obviously you can't do some of those real estate specific tasks like, auctions and open homes. So I think in terms of how many sales are happening, it's probably not going to happen for the next 3 or 4 weeks, depending on when lockdowns come up. But to keep in mind, regional New South Wales hasn't really been affected as much as, the capital city. Obviously, movement of people, there's a lot more people in capital cities. So regional New South Wales, having not been affected by complete lockdowns, they can still operate. So I think a lot more people are going to go,
hey, I really want to buy and invest in property. Interest rates are low, I can lock them in.
That sort of mentality is sort of the go-to right now, is now we're going to look at regional New South Wales and every other state. So it could ease the pressure on what's happening in metropolitan Sydney. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for a property to live in, well, you're not going to just change your mind now. You're probably going to stick it out in New South Wales. The lockdowns also introduce another level of uncertainty. Having snap lockdowns where businesses can't operate or that, you can't go to work anymore, you can't go for those interviews and things like that. The uncertainty, not just at a customer level or consumer level, it's also at a business level. What confidence do you have in opening up your doors again? What confidence do you have in taking up that new venture or taking up new loans across, from a bank to then establish a new business? The uncertainty falls through the floor. And so this could have a negative impact on not just real estate, but the entire economy as a whole. So I will cover up everything and bring it all together in a conclusion at the end of this video. So definitely keep watching. Now, depending on how long these lockdowns actually last for, we could see internal migration like we saw from Victoria out from Victoria into other states. So we could see people wanting to move out of New South Wales, the metropolitan Sydney, and look at,
hey, I want to now go up to Newcastle because Newcastle didn't get affected. I want to go to regional New South Wales because they didn't get affected. I may want to go up to Queensland. I may want to go back to, Victoria and Melbourne.
Things like that. So these are the things that need to consider when you're going out and looking at real estate or when you're looking at media headlines suggesting, prices are through the roof in Sydney, but there might be other opportunities out there. So I think when it comes to wanting to live somewhere, I think people are going to get over the fact that we can snap lockdown in capital cities. I think they also look at which capital cities, Sydney being the largest, Melbourne being the largest. I think we're seeing a trend. And what I think could possibly happen is we start seeing that migration out of Sydney, especially with affordability here. It's ridiculous now. So a lot of people are going to use this as the final straw to go, I don't want to live in Sydney anymore. Let's move out. Where are we going? And it's pretty much anywhere but here. So that could be a direct influence or direct effect rather of the lockdowns this time around. And finally, a large part of how big these ramifications are on New South Wales and Australia as a whole is it's going to come down to how long it lasts for. At the end of the day, if it's just a 2-week lockdown, people aren't really going to care. We go back to sort of normal life. It's going to take some time, to taper off and come back to normality again. But I think it's going to be in the back of people's minds. So we know as soon as numbers pick up, we know we're going to lock down very quickly because that's how the government wants to play it, which it's not for me to discuss on here, but I think when we're looking down the barrel of uncertainty like that, it's going to be that the next opportunity we get to start going back to normality, people are going to look for exit avenues, especially if they're living in, say, things like apartments. A lot of people, I feel, are going to feel the real effects of going,
I bought an off-the-plan apartment. It looked really nice in the brochure, but now I live in a cardboard box up 30 stories and I feel like it's not even part of normal society anymore.
Those are the people that are going to get really pressured into moving. Because when you look at affordability, buying a house, regionally or even interstate, where $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 gets you a really nice 3-4 bedroom house versus it gets you a shoebox in Sydney, I think that's what people are going to really play out and go, is this really making sense now? Why are we still in Sydney? Does it make sense for me? And that's what I think a lot of people are going to start questioning, and lockdown's brilliant for that because it pauses your entire life. You can't leave the house. You can go for a walk, you come back, you still come back to your home, right? And a lot of those thought processes, obviously mental health is huge during this time, so stay positive. It's going to end. We'll get through it. We did the hardest part in 2020. This is going to be easy, okay? But it's hard for a lot of people, and I totally get that. School holidays are here, so kids are running around. I think it's just going to be a very testing time and a good time for you to reset your thought process. Start thinking about what you wanted to achieve in 2020 when the lockdowns actually occurred, to then going,
that was a year ago, I didn't do anything.
Now you know how to prepare for it. Now is the time to go, well, do you want to be in the same spot you were 12 months ago to now? Because it seems like you are. Now is the time to start making those moves. And there's huge opportunities out there, whether that's just making money or, wanting to have a better life for yourself. There is plenty of opportunities if you take on that authority and you take on that accountability to actually take action for yourselves and for your family. Now, the cost of this lockdown is actually massive. So let's just walk away from real estate because I think everything else on a macro level does affect real estate. So it's important to know. Now, with the lockdowns, we have businesses closed down. Now, that will cost Australia billions of dollars, okay? I know that's
that's a wild number, Ravi. Where'd you get that from?
The fact is that being Australia's largest economy, it's not just, hey, a business doesn't operate in these 2 weeks. It's the fact that there's businesses or people that wanted to start new businesses now won't start, right? Because they go, well, we thought we were clear. But now it clearly means that if we bring in or have, a few cases, we're going to lock down again, which means I'm going to have to pay rent for a premises I don't even get to use. So again, it plays out into that fact that people aren't going to want to take on that risk now. It's pulled them back as they started getting that confidence. So I think that's going to be major, especially with the dollar value to the Australian government. But then also on the back of that, you've got to have fiscal stimulus, right? We have more stimulus, we generate more money, quantitative easing, whatever you want to call it, giving out stimulus checks and things like that. That is going to then just beautifully play out the narrative of inflation that's going to come. It's here, it's happening right now, but we'll have no choice. If you want to have a proper lockdown where you control the health order and that movement of people, you need to introduce fiscal stimulus. Otherwise, there's people that don't have enough money. Now, who isn't saving money over the last 12 months, 24 months? I'm not sure, but there are people out there that don't have those strong fundamentals around financial literacy, but also don't have emergency funds. So now we're going to have that push and pull, and we're going to start seeing some of that happen again. Again, it just comes down to the basis of how long this lockdown actually is. So, is it time to leave Sydney and panic? No. I don't think so. I think it's a 2-week lockdown, which I totally believe will be a 1-month lockdown because of how quickly this is spreading, how many people actually have it, and I think we're a bit late to call it a lockdown anyway, so it's definitely spread across metropolitan Sydney. But do I think it's panic stations? Do I think we need to completely get out of here and it's apocalypse now? No. Definitely not. I think we need to take a step at a time, and I know it's going to be hard for a lot of people. Maintaining a positive mindset is going to be so essential right now. Right now, all I'd be doing is resetting, trying to get educated about what I can do to avoid situations like this, or at least be in a position where I'm comfortable and content with now being in lockdown, and I'm not saying everyone start up a YouTube channel or whatnot. I'm just saying that there are other avenues out there, because 12 months ago when I started a YouTube channel on this, there are so many other YouTube creators around the world that did the same thing. Now they're earning, a side hustle income. For me, it was about, sharing my experiences and, financial literacy and upgrading that for you guys as a community. But it's just something to look at. Now it's about, how do I start up that side hustle? I have no choice, right? How do I look at another area to live in? How do I look at renegotiating my rent and moving to another place I can actually afford? Because I don't want to be in this position again. So it's a really good reset. I think the narrative for inner city apartments, that is playing out to a whole nother degree. Like, it just blows my mind how you could be okay with that. Like, I rent in an inner city apartment and, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom place. It's spacious, but at the end of the day, I live in these walls, right? I can't go downstairs. I'm on the street now. I'll spend an hour out there. It's lockdown, right? I'm exaggerating. Obviously, it's not like that all the time, but I'm comfortable with it, right? I'm a very big homebody, and there's obviously facilities within the actual, property we live in. You can go out, internally to the building itself. So there's a lot more out there, but I know a lot of people that are living in a place where they've actually bought, I rent, by the way, have committed to it, but now are finding it too difficult to get out because they wanted the grants and things like that. So that's where I think if you're getting prepared to go into investing or wanting to buy your own place, I think you need to really consider what that situation looks like. Rent for 6 months, rent for 3 months, try and see what that life looks like, because I can tell you now, I would personally will never live in an apartment that I will buy and I'll live here, especially then with kids. It's just not going to happen. Personal choice though. I think for a lot of people, you can afford to just move to a different area and actually have land and live in a house versus, hey, I'm going to live here because, hey, I get to say I live in this postcode and look at how nice this suburb is, to keep up with the Joneses and whatnot. I think it's a load of shit. But I think that narrative is playing out. Anyone that's invested in that space for inner city apartments because they got sold on a very nice brochure off the plan apartment, I think they're going to struggle the most. And I think that's going to play out for the next couple of years. So I would be very scared. I mean, I'm not trying to spread FUD and, cause concern, but I think it's just, it's been the same thing I've been saying for the last 12 months. So if you've gone out there and done that in the last 12 months, I mean, I don't know what channel you're watching. I suspect that the stock market might have some volatility. Crypto's already volatile. I think we've already had a massive correction. I think with the stock market, Australian Stock Exchange, with businesses now not knowing what's happening, uncertainty, I think there could be some volatility there. There might be some people as well now selling out of some of those positions to come in to going, hey, I need an emergency fund just in case. So I think those things will happen, but I don't think they're going to be massive. I think when it comes to real estate, I think we're fairly okay in terms of the ramifications of it, but if this lasts longer, I think it then requires a bit more attention to go, okay, specifically what areas are going to grow, specifically what should I be investing in? The way that I need to be looking at this is going to be vastly different if this is a 2-week lockdown versus a 6-month lockdown, because we need to look at what worked in the 2020 post-pandemic world and then look at what's happening now and what we can adapt to. But right now, reset, take that time, literally take a notebook, sit down and actually go and figure out what your investment strategy is. If you don't know, there's a link in the description below, Confusion to Clarity online course. Go and subscribe, go and enroll yourself in that, spend some time getting educated because you need a plan. Like if we lock down every 6 months, you're not going to have a plan and you're just going to keep looping around in the same spot and you're going to realize, hey, there was 12 months ago we came out of, massive restrictions. Now we're back into lockdowns. How long does this last? So that's how I would be thinking about it, readjusting those strategies, plans. Of course, take some time out, spend time with kids or your spouse or your partner or whatever. If you're by yourself, watch Netflix. There's plenty of good shows. Relax. We can get through it, stay positive, but also stay realistic, stay practical. Right now, if you have the opportunity to do lockdowns 2.0 or to learn what you didn't do last time to doing it now, go and implement those plans, take accountability and really try and obtain massive results for yourself. Not just from a financial point of view, I think spiritually and emotionally as well. It's a great time. So stay positive, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys.